specialized people. There was a police academy. In the police academy, myself and some colleagues, we gave lectures on company law. Chartered accountants were brought in and they taught the police officials the basics of accountancy. After 14 years, not one conviction. Not one conviction. In the tea plantation, the chairman was one Natesan. You see, in Madras, you've got a very peculiar provision. You have a prefix. You see, you're not just called like Mr. Natesan, he's called Anubhav Natesan. Like, there's a very famous lawyer who used to get a lot of goods released on the Customs Act. In those days, when the Customs Act, he would file a petition, get the goods released on furnishing bank guarantee and furnishing bond. So he's called Release Tyagarajan because he got the goods released. He was a famous murderer, Shankar, who he had a series of killed number of ladies, and he was an auto driver, so he's called Auto Shankar. So like Silk Smitha you must have seen. So this is a kind of peculiar thing of Madras. So Anubhav Natesan, he was arrested. He was in jail for 10 years. Why? He never applied for bail because he knew if it come out, he was expected to be bumped off. So he never applied for bail for 8 years. Finally, after 10 years, the police made him apply for a bail and released him on bail. I spoke to his lawyer this morning. Till today, no charge sheet has been filed. And Anubhav Natesan, in jail, learned yoga, became an advanced guru in yoga, and was the yoga teacher for the entire Pudal jail in Tamil Nadu. So, at the end of the day, there were no convictions at all. Now, what amazes me is this. If you take the Companies Act, 58A of the Companies Act simply says that if you don't repay the deposit, it's a very peculiar section, unintended humor. The first part of the section says, if I don't pay the deposits, what must the magistrate do? He must impose a fine of twice the deposit amount, collect the deposit, pay 100% to the depositor and keep 100% for the state. Now if the company cannot pay you 100%, where's the collection of collecting 200%? That apart, the second part is important. You can sentence him to jail for 5 years in prison. 5 years imprisonment. In my life, I have not seen anybody go to jail for not paying a deposit. I was doing the work for Dhanalakshmi Bank, Dhanalakshmi Finance, and criminal complaints were filed in 3 cases. The moment a deposit is filed of, say, Mr. Basu, the company goes and pays Basu 40,000 rupees in repayment, that complaint is dropped. So, which is wrong. The moment the deposit is not being made, offence is committed. There is no compounding. Not a single conviction. And I have been telling in the police academy and other places, in Dhanalakshmi Finance, for example, one complaint, 16 witnesses. Why? You require only a document to show that this deposit of Mr. Basu has not been paid, and that's enough for the conviction. And I had a discussion with Mr. Jetmalani also on this, and he said, you're absolutely right. The whole trouble is they make 30-40 witnesses and the trial never starts, and the trial just goes on and on. This is the tragedy as far as deposits are concerned. Now let me go to the next case of Satyam. What I'm trying to emphasize is, we have got the laws, we have got the regulations, and the basic sections are not implemented. Now, as far as Satyam is concerned, again, I speak from slight personal knowledge because we are now doing the income tax case after Mahindra's took over. What did Satyam do? What actually happened in Satyam? The bombshell came on 7th January or 9th January 2007 when Ramalinga Raju said that all the accounts are fudged. He openly, the board, if you read the board letter, it's on the website. The board letter says that fixed deposits are non-existent. I'll tell you, it's interesting. What exactly it was a very unusual thing. It's a question of you tell 1,000 lies to cover up the first lie. That's the kind of thing what happened. He had fictitious fixed deposits. So I've got fixed deposits of, let's say, 1,000 crores. On 1,000 crores, I show an income of, let us say, 120 crores, 12%. So 120 crores is my income. Under the mercantile system, income accrues. It is shown on the balance sheet. I got 120 crores. I have to pay tax on that. I have not had the income in the first place. How will I pay 35% tax? So now you have to go to plan B. What he did was, he started showing that he has got foreign contracts where he has earned let us say 150 crores of income. And if you get income abroad, you get a tax credit certificate that can be adjusted against your income tax in India. I'm giving a very simplistic way. So whatever was the fictitious Indian income, to offset the tax, he would reduce the taxable income with the help of tax resident certificates and reduce his tax liability. But he took the trouble of paying a few crores every year. Now this went on and on. And there's a lot of because they said that even the bank certificates were forged and so on and so forth. I was just trying to explain the broad parameters of what happened. You're right, bank had to give TDS. Now, very interesting part. By this escalation, over a period of 6-7 years, in the last year before they went bust, he had shown totally 5,200 crores of fictitious income abroad. Then, at beyond a point, the balloon simply cannot keep on expanding, it had to burst. Today, Morning Times of India says he has been convicted for income tax fraud. He and his 14 members have been, family, his wife, etc. have been convicted. But I don't know why it took 7 years to do that. No, I'll come to that. No, they have filed, that's not correct. The CBI has filed a charge sheet. They have filed charge sheets. All trials are pending. The income tax is. Now, I'm on the question of company fraud, corporate frauds, and why the corporate frauds continue. Now, if you take the Companies Act, there is a simple section of just 3 lines. Section 628 says that if there is a false statement in any document, prospectus, balance sheet, profit and loss account, or any other record meant for the provisions of this Act, the person can be sent to jail for 2 years. As simple as that. And it's not for me to advise, but I was always baffled as to why you require to keep the man in jail for so many years when you can simply show that, look, by his own admission, his balance sheet is fudged, his profit and loss is fudged. It's a case of open and shut case, as we call it, and convict him for 2 years. Not done. So I can keep multiplying examples where people have completely committed fraud and nothing has happened. But what is the truth? If you come to Madras, the Metropolitan Magistrate Court is the company court. You have case after case of utterly frivolous complaints. Field Marshal Manekshaw was the director of a company in Hyderabad. He was an accused in that Hyderabad company was there, and they had a registered office in Chennai, but the main factory was in Hyderabad. You know what is the gross offence committed by Manekshaw and all the other directors? He was the chairman of the company. In the balance sheet, the figures, instead of being shown in lakhs, were shown in millions or vice versa. So everybody was prosecuted. Now, is that the thing to file? You have 100, if you take the website, out of 10,000 cases, 10,200 cases, 9,900 and something, almost 98% cases are compoundable offences, not filing the balance sheet, not filing the record. There are not even half a dozen cases on section 628 for fraud, etc. And I'll just tell you as to how this doesn't work with the story of 2 gentlemen from Chennai. I'm sorry, because if at all we have contributed, Chennai has contributed, we have contributed to the 2 convicted persons for prospectus fraud. There were 2 gentlemen from Chennai. Their name is Srinivasan and Chari. In 1936, they made a public issue and raised the astronomical amount of 1,36,000 rupees in a public issue. The company was Indian Sugar and General Industries Corporation. There was a false statement in the prospectus. The matter went to trial. The magistrate court Egmore convicted them. Srinivasan sentenced to 18 months jail. Chari sentenced to 12 months jail. Maximum imprisonment for fraudulent statement in prospectus is 2 years under section 63 and section 628. But Srinivasan 18 months, Chari went for 12 months. I read both judgments. I don't know why this was a difference. They could have made both 12 or both 18, but this was what the sentence was. It came before the Madras High Court. The Madras High Court confirmed the conviction. Now, when I've given this lecture, I've asked people what is so unique of Srinivasan and Chari. And the answer, ladies and gentlemen, they are the only 2 people I know of who have been convicted for a fraud in prospectus. Reported cases of the High Court. Maybe some happened in some magistrate courts, I don't know. And this conviction took place in 1938, affirmed by the High Court in 1943. We are now in 2013. I think you must have written several articles about vanishing companies. I don't know if anybody in Bombay can tell me whether was any case filed in the magistrate court which led to conviction. This is the unfortunate part as far as the corporate fraud is concerned. Now, as far as the Sahara is concerned, I will not call it a Ponzi scheme because the matter is sub judice. The matter is still pending in the Supreme Court. So I just speak on the facts. I don't make any value judgment about that company. That is for the Supreme Court to decide. But what is, because people have often asked me what exactly is going on, how long is this case going to go on? And even my wife is wondering as to when this case is going to end. Because we had the matter in the SEBI appellate. In fact, to tell you the truth, perhaps they asked a lawyer from Chennai to appear because there was nobody else in Delhi available. Everybody was briefed in the Supreme Court or whatever, I don't know. So, the first, what is this short point? Because all been reading Sahara, what is this case about? You know, you have shares, you have debentures, and you have a security called, and you have now you have shares. Sahara, what happened was, they have had brushes with the law I don't want to go into. As far as the case which I have been dealing with now for almost 4.5 years, you know, as I said, there are shares and there are debentures, and there is a combination called optional fully convertible debentures. And these two companies started raising monies from the market for optional fully convertible debentures. There's a company called Sahara Real Estate and there's a company called Sahara Housing. And the prospectus, the draft prospectus said that they want to raise this money to put up ports, airports, townships, very ambitious projects. And it all started with one postcard or one letter written by a chartered accountant from Indore, who wrote a letter saying that some other Sahara companies are in trouble, kindly see what this scheme is all about. And that's how the whole thing started going forward. There are other details, but I'll just give you a broad picture. Very interestingly, what they said is, how much money you want to raise? 40,000 crores, 20,000 crores per company, they want to raise 40,000 crores. When will the scheme come to an end? We don't know. When we reach 20,000 crores, we'll close the scheme. So it's normally a prospectus is open from 10 January, it will close on 31st January. All of us know, right? The closing date is known. Here they said the closing date is when we collect the money. So theoretically, if you collect the money in 2020, your close scheme will close then. So they